Hello and welcome back to another video. So today I wanted to take a look at 3 different states which are currently considered to either be safe Democratic or safely Republican. And these 3 states I think could become very competitive in the 2030s. Now, 2 of these states are Republican states that I think could shift towards swing state status in the 2030s, and one of these states is a Democratic state that I think could shift towards swing state status in the 2030s. So we're going to get started with the state of Kansas. Now, Kansas is a state that voted for Trump by 16 points in 2024, and currently, as I'm recording this video, Kansas does have a Democratic governor, Laura Kelly. She was elected in 2018 and re-elected in 2022. Now, on the federal level, the last time that Kansas voted for a Democrat for president was in 1964, and the last time it voted for a Democratic senator was in the 1930s. Now, Kansas is a state which I find pretty interesting because in 2020, Joe Biden won Kansas. Donald Trump beat Joe Biden in Kansas by 14.5 percentage points. But in 2024, even though the country swung 6 points towards Republicans, Kansas only swung 1.5 points towards Republicans. So what that means is relative to the national popular vote, from 2020 to 2024, Kansas actually trended 4.5 points to the left. Now, if we go all the way back to 2008, what we will see is that John McCain won Kansas by 15 points, even though Obama won the popular vote by 7 points. So back in 2008, Kansas voted 22 points to the right of the nation, and then in 2012, Romney won Kansas by nearly 22 points, and Obama won the popular vote by around 4 points. So Kansas in 2012, Kansas voted 26 points to the right of the nation. Now, going on over to 2016, Trump won in Kansas by 20.5 points, even though Hillary Clinton she won the popular vote by 2 points. So Kansas voted 22.5 points to the right of the nation. So relative to the nation, Kansas did get a few points bluer, going from 2012 to 2016. And then in 2020, Trump won here by 14.5. But Biden won the popular vote by 4.5. So relative to the nation, Kansas voted 19 points to the right of the nation. So again, Kansas trends even bluer. And then finally in 2024, Trump wins here by 16 points, and he wins the popular vote by 1.5 points. So this time around, Kansas voted 14.5 points to the right of the nation. So what you're seeing here is a consistent trend where relative to the nation, Kansas keeps moving further and further to the left. Now, let's say hypothetically that rather than voting 14.5 points to the right of the nation again in 2028, Kansas votes, say, 12 points to the right of the nation, and let's say the Democrats win the popular vote by 5 percentage points. That would mean that Republicans would only win Kansas by 7 percentage points. So Kansas is a state that, while it's not quite there yet, it is slowly but consistently moving further and further to the left. I think 2028 is a year where Republicans could win Kansas by less than 10 points in a really good national environment for the Democrats. But certainly in 2032, 2036, and definitely by 2040, I would expect that the margins in Kansas would start to narrow up. And if we take a look at the state of Kansas, if we compare 2020 and 2024, what we will see is that even though the nation as a whole got 6 points redder, Johnson County, Kansas, a very populous county with Kansas City, Kansas in it, it actually got bluer. And a lot of these Kansas City suburbs barely got redder, even though the nation as a whole got a whole lot redder. And and even in some of these rural areas, they actually got bluer, even though the national environment got so much redder. So Kansas only moved 1.5 points towards Republicans, even though the nation moved 6 points towards Republicans. Kansas is a state that I would keep my eye on. And now, staying on this map, we can look at the state of Alaska. This is a state that Trump it swung 3 points towards Trump, even though nationally the country swung 6 points towards Trump. And looking specifically at the results in Alaska in 2024, Trump won here by 13 points. And in 2020, Joe Biden lost to Trump here by 10 points. Now, going all the way back to 2008, what we can see is that Obama won the popular vote by 7 points, but McCain won Kansas by 20.5 points. So Alaska was nearly 29 points to the right of the nation. Now, let's skip to 2012. Romney wins here by 14. Obama wins the popular vote by 4. So there's a huge trend to the left in Alaska where it only votes 18 points to the right of the nation, which is an 11-point swing compared to 2008. And then in 2016, Trump wins here by 14.7, even though Hillary Clinton wins the popular vote by just over 2 points. So relative to the nation, Alaska is a state that in 2016 it voted around 17 points to the right of the nation. And then in 2020, Joe Biden wins the popular vote by 4.5 points, but Trump wins Alaska by 10 points. So Alaska votes around 14.5 points to the right of the nation. And then finally in 2024, Trump wins the popular vote by 1.5 percentage points, but he only wins Alaska by 13 percentage points. So Alaska votes around 11.5 percentage points to the right of the nation. So again, similar to Kansas, Alaska is a state that relative to the nation, it has been trending left for well over a decade now, and I would expect that that trend continues into 2028. Let's say that the Democrats win the popular vote in 2028 by 5 percentage points, and Alaska, rather than voting 11.5 points to the right of the nation, it votes 9 points to the right of the nation. So what that would mean is that Republicans would only win Alaska by 4 points. Now that's a bit of an extreme example, but let's try another example. Let's say that Democrats win the popular vote by 2 percentage points in 2028, and Alaska votes 10 points to the right of the nation. Well, Alaska would only go to Republicans by 8 percentage points, which would move it into the likely Republican column and into single-digit territory. So Kansas and Alaska are two states, I think, that are currently safely Republican, that, well into the 2030s, I think could certainly start to become very competitive. And I think even in 2026, if Democrats ran strong independent candidates, they would have a shot at winning statewide in these two states. And they have won statewide in these two states recently. Alaska elected a Democratic congresswoman in 2022, and Kansas re-elected their Democratic governor in 2022 as well. Now, in the state of New Jersey, this is a state that I think could become more favorable to Republicans going forward. And the reason being, if we go all the way back to 2012, Obama wins New Jersey by nearly 18 points, and he wins the popular vote by 4 points, and New Jersey is a state that voted 14 points to the left of the nation. Go to 2012. Hillary Clinton wins the popular vote by 2. She wins New Jersey by 14. New Jersey only votes 12 points to the left of the nation this time around. In 2020, Biden wins the popular vote by 4.5, but he only wins New Jersey by 16. So New Jersey is a state that votes 11.5 points to the right of the nation. And then finally in 2024, what we have is Trump wins the popular vote by 1.5, but Harris wins New Jersey by 6. So New Jersey votes only 7.5 points to the left of the nation. New Jersey, if you compare the 2020 and 2024 election results, what you can see is that if this loads really quickly, so narrowing into New Jersey, so let's look at the 2020 results. Look at all of that blue down the middle, and then if you go to 2024, a lot of those counties flip towards Republicans. I mean, even look at Hudson County, New Jersey. Biden wins here by 46. Harris only wins Hudson by 28 points. That's a huge swing towards Republicans. Look at Bergen County. Biden wins here by 16.5. Harris only wins here by 3.5. So a lot of New Jersey has swung heavily towards Republicans. And in 2020, Biden won here by 16. Harris only wins here by 6. That's a 10-point swing towards Republicans in New Jersey from 2020 to 2024, even though the nation as a whole only swung 6 points towards Republicans. So relative to the nation, New Jersey got 4 points redder going from 2020 through 2024. And even in the U.S. Senate race, that was a race that was decided in New Jersey by single digits. And looking at the congressional map of the state of New Jersey in 2024, what we can see is back in 2022, New Jersey's 7th District, Thomas Keene won here by just under 3 points, but in 2024 he wins here by 5.5. New Jersey's 4th, 36-point win in 2024, but in 2022 they'd only, it wasn't that big of a swing in New Jersey's 4th. But if we take a look at some of these more competitive districts, New Jersey's 9th, in 2024 Democrats only won here by 5, even though back in 2022 they won here by over 11. So that just goes to show that New Jersey is a state that saw a huge swing towards Republicans in 2024. And if that continues going into the 2030s, I think New Jersey could definitely start to become a more competitive state. So, and even back in 2021, Republicans only lost the governorship of New Jersey by 3 percentage points after Joe Biden had carried the state the previous year by 16 percentage points. So my main point being that there are 3 states right now which I think could enter into swing state status going into the 2030s. Those states I think are Alaska, Kansas, and New Jersey. New Jersey, which would help Republicans more as it moves to the right, and Kansas and Alaska, which would help Democrats more as it moves to the left. So if you guys did enjoy this video, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe, turn on post notifications so that you don't miss a future upload. Please feel free to comment video suggestions and your thoughts, and I will see you all in the next video.